everyone, and welcome back to Chesapeake Chats on the Hallmarkies podcast. I'm your host, Kari, and I'm joined with Kaycee today. I'm so happy about that.
Hello, friends.
Woohoo! We're also so happy to have all three of us together on a podcast again. Ann is back. Woohoo!
Hey, everybody. Miss being here.
We missed you too, Ann. We missed
you.
I'm glad we're all together. I'm excited.
Me too. Me too, because we are Chessies, and season 5 really has solidified that for us. And we talked about that on the last recap. And so it'll be so fun, I think, to keep going here with these next 2 episodes, 6 and 7. But before we get started, a fun fact that it just hit me actually when I was watching episode 6 and I was watching the title sequence. Episode 5, which we loved and raved about last recap, and the big wedding episode were both directed by Terry Ingram, who, yes, if you remember from the Hallmarkies podcast awards, was voted by us and our followers as the best director for 2020. For Hallmark movies, Christmas, and otherwise. He just had so many great Hallmark movies that he directed last year. So it was really fun to see that he was directing these 2 episodes, which were amazing. I mean, these were great.
Yeah.
So
that's cool. I didn't notice that. Yeah. Nice.
He is a Hull star. He is a Hull star in our eyes. So that is Terry Ingram. We're happy to, see episodes that he does on Chesapeake Shores. But let's jump in. This is a big wedding episode. We've got 3 people here on this podcast. So episode 6, Love is Here to Stay. We actually start the episode at the wedding. Jess is walking in at the wedding. And I'm like, whoa, we're just starting at the wedding? What is going on?
I thought the same thing initially. I did. I was like, what?
Yeah, I actually thought I missed something because I watched it a little bit later and I was like, wait, what? And I had to go back. I was like, no, this is the beginning.
Right. I mean, you have that moment where you're afraid like your recording didn't work or something.
Yeah.
At the wrong time. But sure enough, no. Totally got us. It got all of us, caught all of us off guard. It was a nightmare. Jess was having a nightmare.
Poor Jess. Oh gosh. She has
so stressed.
Yeah.
She is, poor girl. And I did appreciate the fact that they tied it back to season 1 in her nightmares.
Yeah.
Right.
That's true.
I thought that was really good, tying it back.
It's good to connect it. Yeah.
Well, we're like always hoping for that. Like we're hoping for some
consistency, things to make sense. Yeah.
To connect, to be solved, to be answered, but she is one who has nightmares. So it was a little comical how the earth swallowed David up, and then he wasn't able to marry her and stuff.
That was so weird. I was like, what is happening right now?
I know.
I know. So obviously then she wakes up. It is not their wedding day. It's 1 week until the wedding day, and then the episode commences. So she's panicking. We get that from Jess right away, of course. But things are going to be fine. I'm sure. I'm hoping.
Yeah, she was like Ross on Friends when he's like, I'm fine.
Yeah.
Like, you are absolutely not fine right now.
No. So great. So, okay, let's just talk about kind of just the storylines that we've all through this week up before the wedding. Let's start with Bree. Bree is, I know, she's right there.
Casey's favorite shape.
We have a shape coming. We have a triangle.
I'm triggered.
It started to deepen. It's becoming real in this episode. It really.
We went 0 to 77.
Yeah, we really did. We really did.
can we please just cut to the chase and just go there with Jerry and Bree?
Yes, of course, go.
Yeah.
Okay, I was like, okay, they're colleagues, they kind of have this interest, maybe one more so than the other. Bree asks him to be her date to the wedding, and then he kisses her.
Yeah, I was like, we just skipped like a lot of stuff because what just happened?
It was so funny and so shocking. I literally was like,
I know.
why did he do that?
It was so strange. It was so weird.
It was so awkward.
Yeah, it was awkward.
Bree was super awkward about it. She's
Yeah.
like, okay. She doesn't really stand up for herself in those moments. But how can you? You're caught off guard. Like,
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Especially when she just asked him out. Well, kind of to the wedding. Yeah. It wasn't like he kissed her the next day. It wasn't like she could say, this was really strange and awkward, so I'm gonna uninvite you to my sister's wedding.
You know what was so interesting about that is that she almost gets teased into asking him to the wedding. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
he was like, oh yeah, I should come to Chesapeake Shores, and she almost kind of like teases him about, oh, this wedding, and he's like, I'd love that, and she was like, oh, okay. So she didn't really ask him either.
Yeah, she didn't like outright ask him. She like was, like you said, kind of like making like this joke, kind of like, oh yeah, well, I have a +1 to the wedding, and you can make sure that I'm something, or I don't know what she said, but she didn't directly say, do you want to go to the wedding with me? And then all of a sudden he's like kissing her, and I'm just like, what is happening? Did I miss like something?
No, which is so funny because I think they do a good job of helping us feel like we were in Bree's shoes, like totally caught off guard, totally shocked. Like all of a sudden I'm going to this wedding now and he kissed me. Like, wait, what? That was so weird. So
That was weird.
She's not exactly herself with him, I don't think. But then we go to Luke and we have these scenes with Luke. And she's just like, she's calm, she's confident, she's I don't know. I can tell a difference.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I can too. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. With Jerry, she's a lot more awkward. They're kind of like this. We knew each other in high school, but we hated each other. So we're kind of now making amends because we have this commonality of love for literature and books, and we're trying to establish a friendship here. And he obviously has a crush on her.
Yeah.
She obviously has a crush on
Luke.
Yep. So with Luke, it's more of that next door neighbor girl, the girl next door type. She's more relaxed. She's in her element because she's in Chesapeake Shores.
Yeah.
He was a buddy kind of a buddy of Kevin's a little bit there. They're kind of establishing that family friendship connection. So she's definitely more she's not Professor Bree. Right.
Yeah.
But it's funny to me that she is more comfortable with the guy that she actually likes. Like that's, you typically, I feel like you'd be a little more awkward around the guy
that's true. Yeah, at least I would, because that's how I was. But yeah,
right. I know, me too. So we do have this cute scene with Luke and Bree at the bridge, and he has a mop, right? Is this that scene?
I think so. Yeah.
Mop, and he says, hey, I read your book. And she's like, oh, what'd you think of it? And so they talk about her book. And Kaycee, you and I had said that we wanted closure between like Megan and her daughters, specifically Jess before the wedding, but also Bree. I was kind of thinking, like, did they even get closure from this book? So they didn't on screen, but they kind of allude to it. So this conversation with Luke alluded to, a little bit of closure. He says, because I grew up here, I could tell who was supposed to be who in the book. And he said, how did your family react to that? You know, she said, not really well, but they got over it or something. And then you kind of move on. So I was like, okay, maybe that's the closure from the book that we need.
Yeah. Now, is he in the book?
He didn't say.
Yeah, he might be.
Yeah, he could be just completely oblivious because of his past.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that totally couldn't have been me. That was probably Josh Smith, the quarterback on the football team.
Yeah.
I was thinking that they were going to go there, but they didn't go there. So like Jerry, they did with Jerry, but not Luke.
Yeah.
So, anyway, cute Bree's interactions with Luke. I'm starting to like that a lot.
Yeah.
Yes.
I like it too.
Yeah.
So, okay, now we have Abby. And Abby is continuing on with her adult Taekwondo class. And in walks Evan Kincaid. And what did you think about this whole scene between Abby and
Oh my gosh. I thought it was so funny. I really liked it. I'm like, of course Evan's showing up at the Taekwondo class.
Yeah.
And then they're like they're trying to spar, or she the teacher brings him in. It's like, okay, you guys do it. And she's like, oh, why can't I just get away from this guy? Like and then like they're doing it, and then like she kicks him, and I was just like, oh my gosh, this is so I thought it was so funny. I was like, yes. I knew she liked doing it too, so that made it even better, because she just like got like a piece of that anger out, because he's driving her insane. So I enjoyed it.
Yeah, and he was totally offended by it. He totally left the class. She feels awkward because all of a sudden she's like, oh my gosh, we work together. Like, he's our client.
He's my client. Yeah.
I kicked him, and oh my gosh, she's on the street and she runs into Jay. And it seems like they haven't seen each other for a while. And I'm like, I love Jay, Juicebox Jay. He's just so great to me, such a great character. And he's like starting to put two and two together that Evan shows up wherever Abby is.
Mm-hmm.
Triangle.
Oh, another triangle.
To have another triangle.
Yeah, but you know what? Here's the difference between here's the thing about these triangles, though. I will say, the triangle with Bree and Luke and Jerry, it's like one likes one, but the one likes the other one.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like the girl is having these feelings towards both and she can't decide, and she's wishy-washy and she keeps flaunting back and forth. Yeah. Like with Bree, she is very much obviously in this weird friend zone-y stage with Jerry, and then she's crushing on Luke. With Abby, she's not all there with Juicebox Jay. As much as I love Juicebox Jay, he's so wonderful. He's like, he's so kind and generous and thoughtful, and he's been there for her. But there's something that she's not exactly jiving with him, and there's
something missing. Yeah.
Yes, there's something missing.
But wait, this episode, you think that after this episode, she totally says yes to like a date. She asks him to the wedding.
It still feels forced to me, though.
Really?
Yeah,
I agree. There's just something that's like a little bit like forced or off or something. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's almost like she's trying to. She's moving on from Trace. So this is the first time she's putting herself out there. And it's almost like, I don't want to say it's a trial run, but I think she does care for Jay.
Yeah.
I just think she's trying to figure out like, where are her feelings exactly with him? Like, it's like, if I were Abby, I would probably be like, I got to really give this guy a chance. He's been there for me. He's so nice. There's nothing wrong with him. My kids like him. He's a teacher. Like, check.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't like write somebody off until you've gone out with them. You have to have a good reason to, because I would feel bad if some guy was like, hey, I really, really like you, want to go out with you. And I'm like, no. And I've been hanging out with them all this time, So I feel like Abby's doing her due diligence in giving Jay a shot, but you can't force chemistry. I mean, like, you know, romantic chemistry.
Yeah.
They have good chemistry, but it's just, there's something that pains my heart.
Are we just feeling that or saying that because we know that like Evan, he's like, his face is on the poster. He, you know, like that's kind of where we think they're headed. Like otherwise, do you feel like this would be a few steps in the right direction for Abby and Jay?
I mean, I agree with Kaycee. I think it's like, to me, it's kind of like what she's saying. It's like, I think Abby kind of, it's almost like she knows like Jay's a great guy. And she kind of is like, almost like, why don't I like him in her mind? Because she's like, I know he's so great and like so wonderful. And like, why don't I feel, it's like there's some kind of disconnect. Like you're saying, Kaycee, I need to give him a chance. He's such a great guy. He always treats me so nice. But I think she's like, I don't really see him like that, but I don't know why. Because he's just so great. And and I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe it's because like you're saying, Kari, that he, you know, Robert's face has been everywhere and they've been in these promo pictures together. It's probably in the back of my mind, but but I do feel like she's kind of like always talking about how great he is, but not like how she feels about him, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. She's always so hesitant to like Jess wants to say, are you dating? And she's like, let's talk about something else, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, you guys definitely have a point. I think maybe I like,
well, I mean, you know, I've been team Juicebox Jay since he showed up in the gym with the juice box. I have been team Jay for a while. It's just that I don't know. There's just something that's not clicking there right now.
Yeah.
And it does make me sad. And I don't think it's because I saw him on the poster, because there have been other shows where I've seen people together and they don't end up together. So there's that.
Yes, true. Well, she is coming out of a tumultuous, long relationship. And so for her to, like you said, give a chance to a steady Eddie type of guy would, you're right, kind of be her due diligence. She has to think about her kids, think about her future. And plus he's charming and he really he does like her and he you know,
he's sweet,
good with her kids.
He is sweet.
Yeah.
So she asks him to the wedding the day before the wedding. She's on a run and she asks him and she's like, I know this is last minute, but tomorrow my sister's getting married. And I was like, Abby.
Yeah, you don't ask somebody the day before.
The day before. That might give a good hint about her feelings for him as well, you know. Like, hey-o, Abby. So all right, so we have Connor is coming off of a great episode where he saves the day and he resigns from DLP or DPL or whatever it was.
DLP.
Which, Kaycee, do you want to mention something right now?
Yes. DLP. That is the same initials as the production. Daniel L. Paulson, I think. The production company that does Chesapeake Shores.
Yes.
Same logo and everything. Yep. That was the Easter egg.
Yes.
And the who is it? The showrunner this season? Or one of the writers or producers. I'm sorry, I forgot. I should have written it down. But they liked it. They liked the Easter egg thing. So there you go, Chessie's.
Nice.
Yay, Chessie's. Was that on Twitter? That was on.
It was on Twitter.
Yeah. So active on Twitter there. But so yeah, that was the Easter egg that you mentioned. And so he's gone though. He's gone from that dream job that he thought that was going to be everything to him. A little depressed for a couple of weeks, but then he got himself together and started to look at real estate in Chesapeake Shores. Woo! Which is just what we wanted.
Yeah. I'm glad Connor snapped out of it quickly, because that first moment when he comes out and they're like, did you change your shirt? I was like, oh no, we can't have depressed Connor again. So I'm glad he had his moments of mourning, and then he kind of just snapped out of it, and then he bought a little building or leased it or whatever. So
yeah,
that's good.
Yeah, and he's accepting Dad's help. You know, he just helped his dad. His dad wants to return the favor, send in some construction guys, and starting to look like a lot more of a healthy father-son relationship.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Much more fun to watch.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's a good reminder too, because I know, like, especially when you're in your 20s and you've graduated and you want to prove yourself to your parents and you're like, no, I can do it by myself and blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, your family genuinely wants to help you, so let them help you. It's not a sign of weakness if you need their help. And I think that was a beautiful picture there with Connor and Mick. It's like, you know, he realized that that's what family's all about, you know. Exactly. Connor grew up in a very dysfunctional family where his mom was gone and his dad worked all the time. And so, you know, learning and growing from that is just such a wonderful thing to see.
It is, especially for Connor, who can be a hothead and, you know, kind of in that way. But he also, I think in seasons before, Mick's help for his kids has kind of come with strings attached. And that's what they felt like, you know, like if dad gets his hands in this is not my thing anymore. You know, I need to do it on my own. But Mick has really shown some character growth and development over this season, specifically this one and last one. And you just don't get the feeling anymore that the kids think that way. You know, dad's going to help. He's going to he's just going to help. That's it. There's nothing attached. Yeah. So
that's true. It's a good point.
Well, speaking of Mick and Megan, they have a cute scene at Sally's. Do you guys remember that scene where he's talking about vacation?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Which apparently he doesn't take very many of in his entire life.
He's trying to count like how many vacations he had. And I'm like, well, bless his heart. He was a single working dad.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Probably couldn't afford to take much time off.
So that was kind of cute between him and Megan, and it's just small developments between them, but
yeah,
but that's good. Yeah. All right. We have Abby and Bree, I believe, talking about Jerry's kiss. Which was not a ringing endorsement.
No.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what Abby said.
That was fun though to see the sisters just like chat
being
about
sisterly.
It.
Yeah. Just talking about, oh, so you kissed somebody? Well, tell me what it was like. Tell me about it.
Jerry kissed me. And she's like, is this before or after you asked him? Like, good scene.
Yeah.
He was like, he was a really big jerk to me in high school. You know, do people ever change? Do people really change? Is what she's asking about Jerry, which is really interesting in light of the news that needs to drop about Luke. Bree still doesn't know that he has been in prison. And she's asking this question about innocent little Professor Jerry. Do people really ever change?
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, yeah.
And she's gonna face it, I think, with Luke, but
yeah, they better, I think they're gonna do it right, but yeah, they better make her react well, or react in an appropriate manner, like shock, and I need to reflect, I need to think about this, like what does this mean about what do I think about him? Like she needs to you know, go through a whole process, because that's what somebody would do, especially when they're, you know, not knowing this, and then like they're liking the person, crushing on them, all of a sudden it's like, whoa, like I have to like kind of, and it's not that it's bad, it's just that you have to, you know, process and just reflect on that stuff before you can, you know, have an appropriate reaction. Probably the initial reaction's got to be like some kind of shock or something.
Oh, for sure. But I have no doubt that it will be, because I think it's a good question, but I think when you've been hurt, you stop kind of believing or hoping that maybe people will change because you've been hurt. So someone from the outside looking in can say, yes, they do. Yes, they do. They grow up, they change, you know, there's the possibilities are endless. I believe in that people can change.
Yeah.
I think
so
for
too. Sure. I think it's gonna be Kevin that talks her off the ledge.
Yeah, probably.
I think it's gonna be Kevin. Once she finds out about Luke's past, I feel like she's not gonna get the whole story. She's gonna like be shocked, walk away, hear half
I think
of
you're
it.
right. Yeah.
And then I think it's gonna be Kevin who, or even maybe Connor, who talks her off the ledge and just kind of says like, okay, whoa, wait a second.
Right.
Let's slow down. Let's get all the information, really figure out what he did, why, you know, get the whole, you know, situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It has potential to be a really good scene or episode that happens in. So, I mean, just kind of that's just what hit me when I heard her say that and ask that.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah.
Really change, you know. I'm like, okay.
Luke tsunami is coming for you, Brie.
I hope you like reconcile that in your heart soon somehow.
Yeah. You're gonna get some tough news, you know, soon. Yeah.
Right. So speaking of Luke again, I just thought that was so cute how Kevin asks him to the wedding. Like Kevin says, "Come, you should come. Luke, you should come to the wedding." And unbeknownst to me, he was bringing Jerry.
Yeah, not even asking the bride and groom, just being all like, "Hey, come to the wedding. It's fine. We have another seat at the table. Fine,
really
it's
nice
fine."
of him.
we don't have any table cards that we spent hours and days working on table arrangements.
Yeah, exactly.
I say that because I think my parents did that. I'm pretty sure they were like, "Oh yeah, your auntie is already in the States, and so she's gonna come." And I'm like, "But
that's something parents so do." Yeah.
So it did make me kind of giggle a little bit.
Yeah, just that random invite.
Yeah.
Well,
they had to get him there somehow.
Yeah. So, okay, let's talk about the wedding. Let's talk about the wedding then. We finally get to the real wedding after tease like a nightmare after nightmare after nightmare scene that Jess has where David just like doesn't make it, like he dies in these nightmares.
So
he's carried off, he's eaten by the earth, you know, he's just
fire and the lightning and like the squid or whatever. She said she had another one with the squid. So funny to me actually, because you were saying something, Kaycee, before we started recording. You didn't really like it, the wedding scenes.
Well, yeah, okay, here's the thing, guys. Here's the thing. I think in my mind, because when you hear the word Hallmark Channel, you think wedding craziness. It's like wedding threw up everywhere.
Yeah.
I was expecting that. And I actually really like wedding movies. So like I'm one of the rare ones that really enjoy a good wedding movie. So I think going into this, because it was so focused on Jess and David in the previews and this wedding, and it's like all, you know, they had all the things, I was thinking it was going to be more wedding focused. So I felt like I was like whiplashing myself because I'm like waiting for all the wedding things, and then all of a sudden, boom, they get married, and it happens in like 2 seconds, and I'm like, but wait it was literally 2 seconds, and so then I was like, wait, what? This is not what I was expecting. But saying that, once I took a step back from my shock of it not being a wedding episode, like wedding centric, I realized, you know, this is actually really well done because it's 45 minutes. We saw a lot more of the other stories, which was very engaging to me. So it wasn't like I was bored with the other stories and like frustrated with the wedding. I was still very much engaged with the other O'Brien stories. I think it was just my shock because I'm used to the typical Hallmark formula when it comes to a wedding episode or wedding movie. So yeah, taking a step back, I actually like the fact that they you know, they got it done with. They're like, okay, done. Kiss the groom, goodbye. And then we got to see the reception. And I think that's what made it up for me in my initial watch of it. I was like, if we're not going to have like this big, you know, I was expecting for there to be like a chat between Jess and Mick and Jess and Megan, and then the siblings, and like really sappy moments, because that's what I like in wedding movies. Like I just like the sap. But it made it up to me because the reception, which we never really ever get to see in Hallmark movies or Hallmark episodes where there is a movie, we rarely get to see a reception. And the reception was super fun. And we got to see a lot of the different people and the elements. And we saw dancing and we saw like family moments. So I really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
I have to say one thing about the wedding. Okay, so they like really messed me up apparently, because like when it actually started the actual wedding scene, like because I thought like they were going to show people arriving or start in a different way, I'm like watching it. I'm waiting for David to be swallowed by a shark or something crazy to happen. And so I'm like waiting and waiting. And then I'm like, okay, this is the actual wedding scene. So they've lost me for the last 3 minutes because I've been waiting for him to be taken off by a shark, because I thought like we were going to see people coming and like sitting down before it like started. So like I wasn't even like cued in, like pay attention. This is like real wedding.
Yes.
So that was a little bit like, I'm like, could y'all have like started it? Like at least showed like some people sitting down first and then like or something. So
yes,
that was like a slight.
yes.
Oh my gosh.
thing.
I think that's
Yes,
so funny.
that threw me too.
Yeah.
100%. That threw me too. And I think that's the other reason why I was like, wait, what? We had a wedding? What?
And then they started it. And then that's why it felt like 2 seconds to me, because I wasn't paying attention for the first 2 minutes because I'm like waiting for something to happen. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh, they come back, they're taking pictures. I'm like, what just happened? That was it.
Yeah.
See, that's why it was so fun to see them. Like they were kind of giggling through the wedding, like everything was really kind of joyful but silly, but she was tearing up and he said, I do. And like she's kind of like relieved that this was real and they got through the moment. So I thought it was great. I thought it was so funny how they did this. Like they really could have given us a Hallmark movie wedding type of thing, where the mishaps with the wedding details and the sappy vows and things like that, and sentimentality and stuff. But they didn't. That's not Jess. I feel like they gave us crazy because Jess is a little crazy, like her nightmares and everything. And David is just so steady and he just did it. And so sweet. So that was funny.
And it is Hallmark, and there are several O'Briens. So I mean, it's not like all of them have to be the same, right? So I mean, that was the other thing I did realize too, once I had watched and kind of thought about it a little bit. It fit Jess. It fit her personality. It fit everything about her. And she's, she could be a little kooky. And the wedding was a little bit.
Right. We love that about her. Okay. One other thing. I love my favorite scene from this episode, I'm pretty sure it was the siblings taking a picture together after the wedding.
Yes.
Was so funny.
I like
that. Was so
that was
fun.
Cute.
I mean, those are just my favorite scenes anyway, with all of the siblings together, kind of ribbing on each other, but encouraging each other and stuff. Like so cute. And the Pecks were actually pretty nice.
Yeah, they were pleased with the Chesapeake Shores wedding. Shockingly, his mom was like about to cry.
I know.
Like, oh my gosh, okay. I thought she'd be sticking her nose up and like, oh, how could we not, be in whatever country?
The sister wasn't there.
Sister wasn't there. Oh. I mean, not many Pecks were there,
that.
pretty much. I mean, not that we could really tell bride side, groom side.
Yeah, but the sister, Jess and the sister had a good relationship.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. Yeah.
I forgot. Yeah, I just thought of that when you mentioned the Pecks were there. And I was like,
We'd like to take a second from this episode of the podcast to celebrate our sponsor of this episode, and that is the Hallmarkies Patreon.
Do you love Hallmarkies podcast?
Do you want an inside scoop into what happens on the podcast?
Do you want early access to episodes and loads of cool perks?
Now is the time to become a patron of Hallmarkies podcast.
By becoming a patron, you get to access our patron Facebook group.
You can request episodes or even be a guest on the podcast.
And most importantly, any patron can join our monthly movie watch-alongs with stars like Paul Campbell, Natalie Hall, and more.
It's as low as $2 a month to join in and become a special part of the Hallmarkies family.
Please consider, and we will love you forever.
Go to patreon.com/Hallmarkies.
That's patreon.com/Hallmarkies. Wedding attire. Peak Chesapeake Shores casual wedding attire. Like, I was kind of expecting the maid of honor and like all the bridesmaids to be in the same thing, but everyone was so casual and so they looked great. I mean, they absolutely looked great, but that was funny to me too.
Yeah. It reminded me of a beach wedding
Definitely.
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
Because I'm in Florida, so that's what it reminded me of. Very chill,
Yeah.
beachy, fun.
Carlo killed me in this scene. It's only like 1 second, but I was like, I can't look at this. Please, why'd somebody show this? He was sitting down at a table and he had his legs crossed, and there was like 10 inches of his leg because his pants, when he crossed his leg, I guess his pants like went up like I was like, oh my God, I can't like look away. Like that kind of stuff drives me crazy. And people look like they're wearing high waters. I was like, oh my God.
You showing way too much leg for you. And
Yeah, it was no kidding, 8 inches of his leg. I was like, how is it even possible for it to go up that much by crossing your leg? It was only like 1 second, but I was like, all I could see was his leg. I was like, no.
First of all, he wore tennis shoes, and
Yeah,
then
and then it drew attention to that. Yeah.
and then he like had capris on when he sat down. Like,
Literally capris. That was a lot. Yeah.
It's gone shores theme, it's just
It was very
with the shores.
beachy. Yeah.
yeah.
casual, dreamy, awesome wedding right at the house, right in
Mhm.
the backyard.
Yeah.
So what other wedding details do you remember? I love that reception because we got to see the interactions here. I thought the writers, I really kind of let the girls off easy. Their triangles, they were there. Both boys were there, and both girls, but they didn't have any super awkward interactions.
Yeah, with each other. Yeah.
With each
Yeah.
Like at the same time. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
That was good. We avoided that drama.
whew.
Yeah. Well, I mean, until Jerry comes back and looks for his phone.
Yeah. Which Bree still doesn't know that he did, but yeah, he saw.
Yeah.
We saw them
Yeah.
dancing, and they were dancing really sweet and really cute. Like there was
Yeah.
something about it that he noticed, and
Mhm.
He
Like it wasn't
paused.
just she was dancing with some random guy, like just for fun, or like a cousin or brother or
Right.
something. It was like
Yeah.
he saw there was chemistry.
there was
Mhm.
chemistry.
Yeah.
Okay, backing up before they danced, though, Bree and Luke have this conversation that was so funny because he says like, "Oh, it's overwhelming. A party like this is overwhelming to me. I'm not used to
That
it."
was so funny.
And she's like,
I love that.
"Where have they been keeping you?"
I was dying. I was like, oh, this is so good. I wrote this. He really should have said, I wish he would have said it right then, but that it was a wedding, a bit inappropriate. But even if he would have said, in prison, and see what she would have just reacted and be like, oh yeah, I'm kidding. But then later he would be like, oh my gosh, you really weren't kidding.
Right.
Yeah.
That would have been funny. Yeah,
That
so
was
he's like, nowhere, nowhere. I was like, that was hilarious writing right there.
Mhm.
That was really
That was funny.
But that's probably also like so true. Like he probably felt so weird, like being in a setting where there's so many people and they're like dressed up, and he's just kind of like, I feel like so weird. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
he's very cute about it. Very funny. Okay, last thing. I mean, Evan and Abby, just to kind of wrap up their storyline from this episode, I think they started to hint at some depth here.
Mhm.
First of all, he is really kind of offended that she kicked his face and his feelings are hurt and all this stuff. And he goes away and he pouts in Iceland. And then he comes back.
He needs some ice for his face.
But this is why I think that's so intriguing for me, that Evan's reaction to this kick, because to me it's starting to show some cracks in his little goofy armor, and he's starting to feel this is not just business, it's personal. Like he's starting to feel attached to his family and to Abby and stuff, maybe, and it's kind of confusing himself, like why did I react that way, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I think the same thing,
Yeah.
that he's starting to realize
Mhm.
how much he likes them, how much he had is attached to them and just likes getting to know them and likes hanging out with them, likes hanging out with Abby and likes bantering with her and driving her insane. You know.
Well, because he had this thing, you know, he teases her relentlessly all the time, and
Yeah.
he's like, I can't tell when you're being serious with me or not. And he was like, sometimes I can't either, you know.
She needs that though. She really does.
Yeah, she needs some lighter. Yeah, lighter.
Yeah, and I don't know if you guys think this, but she seems like she's also cracking too. She's not as uptight.
Yeah.
Like it's starting to slowly, like, you know, we're loosening up.
Well, she agrees to dance with him at the wedding, you know, and that to me, I'm like, your coworker, she's a client, and like dance, like there's a different. You don't just dance with anybody, you know.
Yeah. I mean, definitely not me. I don't dance with anybody.
No.
Well, other than my husband, but anyone else.
I mean, like Robert Buckley, sure. Yeah. I mean, I would dance.
I would dance with Robert Buckley as well. If he asked me to dance, I wouldn't say no. And then I'd proceed to embarrass myself. But
I don't blame her. You know, I don't blame her there. But she is starting to crack, I think, a little bit too.
Like how they're showing it, like slowly, how each of them is, you know, starting to get to them.
But we do end this episode kind of with it. You know, their professional relationship is threatened by these artifacts that they're finding on the build site, and they have to stop the build basically. And he kind of hints that like he's going to pull out of the project, and she's like, great, I totally just ruined that. You know, he's pulling out of the project. So all in all, it was a pretty successful, very successful family event for one big happy. This.
Yes. But one more person we need to talk about really quickly is Brendan Penny. That's what I was trying to say. Kevin and Sarah and the baby at the wedding. It was so random, but
cute.
That's Jessica Sipos' little boy.
Oh, okay. That's her real son.
That's her real son.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is fun. I wondered. I was like, oh, there's just something cute going on here. Like even him, I wondered if it was his son, but he's not married, you know, like, right. Like he's not, Brendan Penny is not married or anything.
I don't think so. I don't know.
I thought he had a kid.
You thought he has a kid?
Oh, I knew Jessica did, but I didn't know about him.
Well, regardless, both of them looked very natural, very cute, really ready to have their own baby because of this little kid.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. And Kevin has baby fever.
He does.
He does. Yeah. Especially
baby fever.
Think about that for a man, but yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that was a great episode. Episode 6, the big wedding episode, which, you know, it wasn't exactly the big wedding that we anticipated, but the way that they did it, I think was fresh. I think it was fun, and got the job done. They're married. They are married now.
Yeah. I mean, it was such a wonderful episode, and I would say, I mean, it's probably up there. Honestly, it's up there.
Yeah.
Have you got a Hallmarky, Hardy, Postable, or Sleuther in your life? Are you looking for the perfect gift for your loved one? Look no further than the Hallmarkies podcast merch store. We have designs from artists like Jessica Miller and Kari at Hallmark Comics. At the store, you can declare your team, like hashtag Team Lucas or hashtag Team Nathan. And you can also have your hashtag shirts with hashtag Postables, hashtag Hardies, hashtag Goodies. We've got the Love Me Like series where you can get designs such as Love Me Like Nick Loves Aurora. And there's also great stories beyond Hallmark like Anne and Gilbert from Anne of Green Gables. And it's not just shirts, but notebooks, mugs, pillows, and cell phone cases. Your support of the merch store helps keep the podcast going, and we are so appreciative. There are frequent sales, so go to tpublic.com/stores/Hallmarkies or follow the link in the description. That's tpublic.com/stores/Hallmarkies.
Though, episode 7 called What's New. And we do wake up. I mean, we wake up in bed with Jess and David.
And Carlos gelled hair as he wakes up. I'm like, come on, y'all. I can literally see the gel in his hair. Like, this is not convincing to me.
T-shirt. He's wearing a t-shirt. She's wearing like these jammies from Target. And I'm like, yo. If this is the time to have him shirtless, this would be the time. Like, it's just...
That's very true. One of those 1 second shirtless scenes that we get where it's like 1 second. Yeah.
They're so cute. And they
are cute.
Yeah, she's a bed hug, and she thinks in pure Jess fashion, she's worried that will ruin their new marriage.
I know. Jess, oh my gosh. If I had so much anxiety as her, I would just be, oh gosh.
I would be living in my therapist's office.
Yeah, I would too. I would just be like, I can't do anything because I might just mess it up.
I know, he's so good. He's so good. Well, we have Nell back. Nell is pretty much back with a couple episodes here. So is her Irish accent, which is exciting.
Oh, yes.
Was in strong. Yeah, was in strong.
Loving that. Loving that. So, okay. So Evan, let's talk about this scene right away. Evan comes in to the house to basically like get the contract from her that dissolves their relationship. And he just wants to kind of say goodbye in person, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what did you think about this scene?
I'm just like, I'm like, Evan, is this real? Like, do you actually have back spasms? Or you're like there, you want to say goodbye, you realize you're not ready to say goodbye, talk about a picture, bam, 1 second. Oh my God. I'm dying right now. I can't leave your house. I have to sit down right here for 2 days. I was just like, would this happen? Like, I don't think this would happen. The person would find a way to leave. Like, and of course Nell's there. She's like, you're not going to be taken away by ambulance. We're hospitable. I'm going to give you my wonderful muffins and chicken and biscuits and everything. But it was just crazy. I'm like, I almost don't believe that he's really hurt. I don't know, because I just know he's so wants family and wants to be around people and doesn't want to say goodbye to Abby, even if he hadn't realized it to that moment.
I think that's a good point, because who's taking care of him? Graham? Like, he has to does he need help walking to the bathroom?
Yeah, like they never showed him going to the bathroom. So he just laid there for 2 days, and I guess he never went to the bathroom.
I mean, yeah, and like back issues, back spasms, they hurt. They hurt.
I'm sure it takes a while to settle. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. I'm all for the forced proximity storyline.
I like that.
I do too.
Yeah. We're stuck in an ice storm in the same cabin together. That's how we usually see it, but this is a little different. But yeah, I like the forced. Yeah.
I love a forced proximity storyline. I think it's funny and wacky, and like you said, it has all these why questions. Like, why couldn't he just go home? Why couldn't he go to the hospital? Why couldn't he?
And Drake is perfectly capable of taking him to the car and making sure he gets into his place.
At this point, we don't care, because he is there in the O'Brien's home and he's loving life in the O'Brien's home.
Yeah, he's being catered to. I mean,
yeah.
He's just making me laugh. He's like, I'll take some lemonade, like from the couch, and he's giving requests and orders and just part of the family.
And when Abby brings him the chicken, she's just like plop right on his chest.
No patience. So they both definitely recognize how awkward it is that he's going to be there on their couch, and they have that moment where they're like, awkward. But that kind of sets us up for some fun scenes later. Sarah, though, Kaycee, tell us about Sarah and Kevin. What's their storyline this episode?
Oh yes, Sarah and Kevin. Sarah is up for lieutenant right? It's lieutenant or
Mhm.
captain,
Yeah.
lieutenant. She doesn't know if she wants to take it.
Mhm.
And I was like, wait, what? Like, this is a good opportunity for you. You've been here forever. Like, you know, you're a boss and stuff.
That was
But then
basically Kevin's reaction too.
yeah, I'm seriously, if my friend, like if I were her sister, I'd be like, girl, go for it. You can, you know, if life changes, you can always step down. It's fine.
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's all good. But then she starts questioning, like, does she really want a baby at that? Because her part of her reasoning was like, if I accept this, that means I don't go on runs. So I should do the runs now while I still can, because if I have a baby, I can't go on runs. So then it's almost like, you know, you're trying to figure out the best route.
Yeah.
And so that kind of freaks Kevin out a little bit, because he's like, again, we see his baby fever go up like 10 notches.
Yeah.
We started off, you know, we're like, okay, we're at 100 for Kevin. We just went to like 100, like 6
Right.
on the thermometer scale.
Oh
like,
yeah.
He is ready for some babies.
He like went, yeah.
Well, I love it when he is, you know, they're kind of at an impasse here. She has this great opportunity, which would actually help in the family planning, you
Mhm.
know, that he's ready for, but she doesn't know if she's ready for it because it'll keep her from going into the dangerous places that she likes to go to, the thrill and that rush as a firefighter. So they're at an impasse. So he then goes to Connor's new real estate like shop that he's making into a lawyer's office, and he takes a sledgehammer and he just like works out his frustration.
Oh, yes.
And Bree's like, "Oh, you want to talk about it?" And he's like, "No, you know, I'd rather do this."
Doesn't work out.
He's like, "Okay, wow." And so
He was hitting that thing really hard. Like,
he was.
you know how in acting, you're kind of like, you fake the thing and you're like, oh, you can tell they're faking it and it's like making loud noises. No, that man was like, let me show my muscles off. And also,
he had issues to work through and he felt better doing that. But I love when he like settled down and they actually sat and they had a heart to heart. Speaking of that Bree and Kevin moment that we hope maybe will come later in the season regarding Luke, but this one was so sweet. And she just gives a listening ear. And she's like, not that I'm married or anything, but, you know, kind of gives him the marriage advice.
Mm-hmm.
What did they say? What did she say? Something like, isn't marriage all about when you're, you know, trying to figure out, even if you're on the different page, how to remain in the same book?
Yeah.
Mhm.
I thought that was sweet.
That was very sweet.
Yeah.
That was sweet. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
That
Mhm.
nugget.
Yeah. Good nugget.
Yeah, good
He
nugget.
takes it to heart, I think. And anyway, well, she brought Luke to help out with the renovations, and he has a moment with Connor. We really haven't seen him with Connor just yet.
Mm-hmm. And let me just say that Luke was wearing that shirt when he was in that place, because wow, I was like, Steven Huszar's muscles are like really big in this scene. Like this shirt is like, what?
I was like, are the girls going to remember what this scene is about? Because it's an important scene, but he's wearing that shirt. So
So we'll remember. I mean, I just watched it now, like right before this, but as soon as I saw him in that shirt, I was like, what is happening? Like, this is like very tight shirt.
It was painted on. It looked very, very good. And, but he has this interaction with Connor.
Yeah.
And he
Which
comes
is a serious interaction.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He's like, Connor, I've done time. Your dad knows it. Kevin knows it. But I need to tell you, since I'm working here, you know, I've done time.
Mhm.
And immediately Connor's like, does Bree know this?
Yeah. Protective brother coming out.
He did. He went protective brother mode.
Yeah.
Because he said, what did Luke say? Luke said to Connor something like, you're a good brother. And then Connor looked at him in the eye and was like, no, I have a good sister, aka if you break her heart, I will break yours.
I will.
And
Yep.
more.
Yep. Exactly.
Connor, the champion of women this season 5.
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
he is taking names. He is not going to let anyone push any of his girls over. So
Yeah.
I love it. But he did. Luke asked him about his parole officer. And so I thought that was really interesting.
I thought that was interesting too.
Yeah, I feel like there's gonna be drama with that, with the parole officer, 100%.
Yeah, because he
100%.
seemed very intense.
Oh, very.
So when we saw him, he seemed very intense.
Yeah. So it's interesting though that he knows that. Like, hey, yes, I did something wrong. Yes, but right now, it kind of just feels like he has it out for me. Like I really am not trying to do things wrong, and he's coming over and he's like, he has it out for me. So Connor's going to do a little pro bono work for Luke and look into some parole officer stuff, which is good. We like that. So, all right. What else is going on here in this scene? Bree gets the advice from Kevin to let Jerry down. If you are not into Jerry, let him down fast, and
Quick.
rip the Band-Aid off.
If he's going down the zip line, cut the zip line, he'll just go.
Just go.
And she cut it immediately. I'm like, she took that advice straight to Jerry. Bam. Her body language, as soon as she said his name, she was like, and Jerry's like, whoa, okay, bomb's about to drop.
But she did. She took care of it and she got right to the point, which I was very glad for. I'm like, Bree, say what you mean and mean what you say. Don't just kind of like, wishy-washy here. This isn't time to be awkward, Bree. Like, but she did it. Yeah.
They had a very adult conversation. Especially for Hallmark.
Yeah.
Because I will be honest, like there have been a lot of times where we see these same types of conversations and it is not done well. Like the characters are being too immature, or one is getting angry prematurely, or they're accusing oh, you led me on and blah 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 blah. Whereas this one, it was like Jerry already had a feeling because he saw her dancing with the other guy, and he was probably like, ah. Then when she said his name, and then he was like, oh yeah,
here it comes.
Okay, here it comes. She's not into me like I'm into her. And she never really led him on.
No.
Because she didn't initiate that kiss. He did.
No.
Yeah.
The only thing she did was like ask him to go to the wedding. But I mean, even that was almost kind of friendly.
Yeah.
Because they were never an official item. So like it was good for them to just like, it was good for her to hear from Kevin, like just cut it off. Just be done with it. Like good
brotherly advice, I think. As a guy, this is what you need to do. Just the kindest thing. It's not kind to lead him on, kindest thing is like cut ties and run. But honestly, this is why we like season 5 of Chesapeake Shores, because of the writing. The writing actually gives us something we can sink our teeth into, and gives us situations with people where they're actually saying things and resolving things and moving, like
and acting like mature people. Yeah.
I'm loving it. Yes. I'm loving it.
Much better.
Yeah. And he took it like a champ. He was like,
did.
Okay, we're colleagues. We're colleagues. We're friends. Cool.
He
Done.
took it.
End of story.
He totally did. But do you think this is the last we're going to see of Jerry?
I know. I wondered that as he was she walked away from him. I thought, are we going to see Jerry again? I think if we do, it's just going to be in passing. It's not going to be like, maybe
at work. It's going to be at
like just kind of at work, just real quick, not like a extended conversation or.
We only have like 3 episodes left of this season. I mean, I don't know. I thought it could be the last that we saw of Jerry.
Yeah. I think it definitely could be.
It could be, or we could also have one of those misunderstandings from Luke's perspective. Like Luke's all like, oh, you brought that guy, and he sees something happen, that happens. And maybe he had just told Bree about his background, and she gets all like, weirded out by it. And then for some reason we see her with Jerry, but it's completely professional, but he doesn't know that. So like it's the misunderstanding thing on that
classic Hallmark. Oh my gosh.
What do you mean? Weird.
The most Hallmark thing I've ever heard.
That is a fresh storyline. What are you kidding me?
Seeing the wrong thing and not asking what was going on.
That could happen. You're right, Kaycee. You're right. He could be back. He could be back.
Mm-hmm.
But
It could.
Would you like
that could totally happen. That
Yeah.
exact thing.
Yeah. Well,
100%.
yeah. Well, we have Kari and Caitlin. Kari and Caitlin have quite the big roles in this episode. And they're all hanging out at home, and Arthur Driscoll, the artist, I don't know, side note, he's dating grandma. They're eating burritos in the park.
Oh, burritos. I was like, who eats burritos on TV? This is so weird. Older people eat burritos. I'm like, okay, they're gonna be eating ice cream. And then I'm like, this is a burrito. I know, it just felt so weird to me. I was like, I don't think I've ever like seen like old people eating burritos. I don't know. It was just so weird. I just assumed they're going to be eating ice cream. I don't know why. Because they're old people and old people love ice cream.
Just give them ice cream. That's Chesapeake.
Please.
We don't need to introduce burritos on a date. Gran and Arthur Driscoll. Like, that was,
Got bean and rice teeth. I mean, there's a lot of problems with it.
that was so weird.
It was weird to me. I thought it was weird.
Oh, they were funny about it because they definitely addressed it. I guess it was shawarma. It wasn't burritos, but it looked like burritos.
It really did look, yeah.
It was shawarma. And she's telling the story and he's sketching her. And it was very sweet, but I was like, Gran is setting herself up for a triangle of her own because we have Arthur Driscoll, we have Dylan O'Malley in Ireland or somewhere. We don't know.
Yeah.
Dylan
O'Malley. Oh, the yes, Dylan. Goodness, whatever happened to him? We don't know still.
We don't know. We don't know. We know he was handsome when he was younger because of this old picture. Remember that the girls saw. Anyway, who cares about Dylan O'Malley right now? Arthur Driscoll is no match for Gran. I've got to say, I do not think that they are going to end up together.
No. It's too, I don't know. They're too platonic, maybe.
Like, this is really a date? I don't know if it really was, but then Evan said it was at the end, so that was kind of funny.
Yeah, that was.
I know.
Funny.
And Evan's very perceptive, as we learned.
We've
got to talk about this big scene before we wrap up episode 7. This amazing, all this climactic like crashing of triangles here for Abby and Evan and Jay at the house.
Oh, yep.
What?
Yeesh.
Jay comes over and he's playing guitar, and she realized, like, what? He plays guitar? She loves guitar playing guys. Like, this is.
You didn't even put that connection together.
Yeah, that's really funny. That was like, funny.
Oh, Jay, wow. Like, she was kind of blushing, and he's playing guitar for her. And
she must really like that. She's
got a type.
She loves that.
Evan will learn guitar.
Yes.
God, I cannot see him playing guitar at all.
He was just playing, but it was so funny because right before the scene where Jay picks up a guitar, I was thinking, you know what's making this season so great is that we're not interrupted by singing all the time.
Oh, right? Yes, singing of the same song.
The same song. Over and
Here
over.
comes the free fall.
Free fall. Here comes the free fall. We heard that song all the time. He played on their dates. He was not a creative dater. He played guitar for her on every date that he took her on. I was like, oh my goodness, you know what? This season is so refreshing because there's no guitar. And then
no. Grayson Holt, Jay.
It's like, Jay, Juicebox Jay, stop. You've got like, hello. Anyway, that's my guitar tangent. My husband plays guitar. I love it. I think it's great. I think Abby loved it that Jay plays guitar, but it was funny. Evan kind of mocked it. Kind of.
He felt threatened or something because he had some things to say.
Okay, wait though. When Jay comes in and they're gonna have like brownies and milk or something, and she introduces Jay to Evan. That was a great scene. So great.
Mm-hmm.
He's on the couch. I don't
Making
know.
himself at home in the house. That's what Jay's thinking. This man's at their house asking for lemonade with a swirly straw at their house, making himself comfortable. And Jay was like, I do not like that.
Jay did not like it. And I think Evan could tell that Jay didn't like it because Evan was
100%.
He was kind of like pushing his buttons a little bit. And oh, Jay, do you remember these? Remember these straws? Like he just was being such a little bit of he was being a little jerk, but
yeah. He was for sure.
Yeah.
Grade school? Oh, you teach grade school. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Nice. Okay. Don't come for the teachers now. We need them. They're awesome.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah. And it's funny though, too, because like his character is so playful. So like as Abby said, like I don't know if you're being serious or I don't know if you're being like joking. And that was me when I'm watching this scene. I'm kind of like going back and forth, like, are you being for real right now? Because you do act like this, you kind of act aloof, or are you like really jabbing? Because I can't really tell at this moment because you're so like nonchalant about it.
Mm-hmm. I think he was totally jabbing. I think he sits on the couch and he was observing all these things, you know. He's always thinking, and I think he totally was taking, like, he had Jay's number and he was kind of teasing him and teasing Abby. Jay got super serious.
Yeah.
So serious and so territorial.
Yeah, he did. He
Definitely did. I was
whoa.
like, okay.
It's a lot of male ego in this room.
Ego.
We can literally feel it taking up the room.
I know. So I thought that was kind of funny, but I don't know. I still think that there's a little bit of a spark between Abby and Jay, but not the house spark. Not the house spark yet.
The biggest spark I saw was when, like you said, she likes men to play the guitar. When her reaction to him after he played that thing on the guitar, that was the most spark I've seen this whole time. And I was like, okay, this is the end of this episode, and this is the most spark I've ever seen between them. So she really does like that or something, because her face and looking at him, she was
totally.
Yeah. She was very engaged.
It was she was much more engaged, and she just looked. She had this smile and just looked that was different with him.
And she had just told him that like Evan has these hidden depths or things you don't see on the surface, you know, and stuff. And so she's like, I didn't know you played guitar. And Jay says, well, I have hidden depths or something like that. Like, what did he say?
I have hidden depths to me as well, or whatever he said. And I was like, whoa.
Right.
Jay is trying to, you know, he's trying to make up some ground here.
Yeah, he is. This is what he said. He said, well, there are things about me that you don't see on the surface. You know, like I've got that too. I thought that was funny. Okay. So who have we not talked about yet in this episode? This scene. Oh,
we need to talk about Sarah falling off the ladder.
Oh yeah, it's a big
tell us about that.
Yeah, so Sarah is conflicted. She doesn't know if she's going to take the position or not. Her colleague asks Kevin to fix the banner. but Kevin has to go on a run because there's an emergency. So Sarah fixes the banner and passes out on the ladder and falls, you guys. And I'm like,
I don't know why I'm laughing. It was serious. It was very serious.
And so we see Megan rushing to the hospital because Kevin has called her and Connor is there. And I was kind of like, oh wow, that's who Kevin calls. He calls his brother and he calls his mom.
Yeah.
Which is it's very sweet for that support. He didn't call everybody. It didn't appear. I mean, like, not everybody could drop what they're doing and come, but those are the two who stop and they go. And Sarah hates the hospital and she's trying to get up and then she's about to pass, she's dizzy and stuff. And then we have the gasp moment from everybody. And the doctor tells Sarah and Kevin, oh yeah, Sarah, that makes sense as to why you're feeling dizzy because your blood work shows some things, blah, blah, blah. How far along are you? And when she said that, I was like, what?
I know. So beautiful. It was such a shock, but it was so beautiful. And what I loved is that they turned to each other with the biggest smiles, like they were happy with the news, and it wasn't this like, oh, I don't know what I feel about this, they were just like overjoyed together. And so that was a relief to my heart. Like, oh, yeah, that they're both.
That was good. I like that. I was surprised. And I was like, oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
But it was good.
Right after she fell off the ladder, or when she was like woozy up on the ladder, I thought, is she pregnant? Because that happened to me. I could not climb ladders or like this one spiral staircase at this a friend's house. I could not climb it when I was during my first pregnancy. I was like, I had this like fear of like I paralyzed up on the heights. And I was like, is she pregnant? That was fun.
Oh,
I know.
I thought it was something with her endometriosis. Like she all of a sudden got in like a lot of pain and then she passed out, or it was like too hot and more underlying like health conditions. That's where my mind went.
Oh, so it's good news. I'm so happy for them. I think that's great news. And it's fun to, they've talked about adoption quite a bit. So it would still be a great storyline if they went adoption.
I would still love to see that.
Me too.
I would too.
I love that too.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
But
all right. Okay. That was the end of the episode, but we did end it with Evan ripping up their contract to dissolve the partnership because he wants to keep the partnership, and he announces he is moving to Chesapeake Shores like for an indefinite period of time. Like he's going to be here. After
and he's going to have like a museum or
that
something.
Was very smart. I thought that was brilliant. I thought that is a smart way to use what messed up this property and just to have it on display there, and he can afford to do that. So
exactly.
I mean,
build your hotel around it. I'm thinking like the Disney resorts, who has this like attraction and stuff. Also this boutique hotel right by it. So he's a thinker, he's a solver, he's a planner. I think we saw a little bit more even of him this episode. They talked about his dyslexia.
Yeah.
That he is a self-made man, like 100% self-made man. And he's not lazy. He's a very hard worker. He just had to figure out how to work hard in a different way. Which is so true for so many dyslexic people are brilliant entrepreneurs and have amazing business acumen because they have to think outside the box, So cool then to see that's kind of part of his storyline.
Yeah, and that's totally didn't expect that.
I know.
Yeah.
But a mysterious back accident story that Mandrake.
Yes.
Mandrake. I just love him. He's so like, I don't know. He's just so not somebody I ever thought would be in Chesapeake Shores. I don't know. It's just something about him. He's just kind of different and kind of stiff and kind of like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I like him.
Yeah.
He's very endearing, and his name isn't even Mandrake.
Yeah, exactly.
It just makes Evan kind of laugh to call him that or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
And she said, I love that line that Abby said about Evan. She's like, it must be exhausting to be him. Always thinking, always doing, always going. So, okay. So where we've left off then here on episode 7, what storylines intrigue you guys for the next 3 as we close out this season? What do you want to see?
Oh, goodness.
I really want to see this Bree Luke conversation and the kind of what spins out from that and her reaction, and when she comes back to him and talks to him after someone's talked to her and help her talk about it. I want to see how that pans out. I want to see what happens, of course, with Evan and Abby. I'm very into it. Want to see like what's going to develop, what's going to happen. Those are like the 2 major ones that I'm looking forward to.
Kaycee?
Yeah, I feel like we can effectively say that Bree's triangle is now just like a line, has no other 3 points. It's just 2 people here,
Bree and Luke.
Good. Bree and Luke, boom, done. So I'm interested, like Ann said, I'm interested about that. Of course, I'm a sucker for the whole like baby storyline. I think that's great. I think that it's something different that Hallmark hasn't really done before in their series.
That's true.
So we'll actually see it play out, especially with some of her health problems that we've heard of, like with the endometriosis and everything. Like, is that going to play a part? Is she going to be high risk? I mean, that could be a lot of drama there. So that'll be interesting. How will Kevin be as a dad to be and everything? Curious about Connor and what this law firm is gonna like, what's gonna happen here. I feel like we're not gonna get a whole lot of drama with him because his storyline was heavy in the beginning, and I feel like it's gonna be like the grand opening, and then he'll have more drama next season. And then Mick and Megan. Are we going to end with a proposal? Or just like, hey, we're gonna go on vacation and we're just gonna elope.
Right. That's a good point. I wonder, going on vacation for an extended period of time, if he meant something like that, like let's go elope.
He could have.
Yeah. What about you, Kari?
What'd you say?
What about you, Kari?
Yes, thank you. So I'm thinking, it was so cute that Jess said, every book, every movie that you ever watch, it ends with the wedding. What goes on after this? And so
true.
Yeah, the way that she said that, I was like, I wonder where they're going to take Jess and David. And, we love this couple, and they add so much to the O'Brien clan. They're such a great steady couple that I just think they're going to keep having fun with Jess and David. That's my hope. I think so. They'll just keep having fun with them. But it did make me go, oh, I wonder what they have in store.
I thought the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. That is the end. That is episode 6 and episode 7, our recap here on Chesapeake Chats. But you guys, we know that we are not the only ones with thoughts. You have thoughts, Chessies out there. You guys have thoughts. So leave a comment, leave your predictions, leave your I don't know, whatever you liked about these 2 episodes here on YouTube. If you're watching here, be sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any more Chesapeake Chats coming up. And if you're listening on iTunes, please leave a rating and a review. We really appreciate that. Please go find Hallmarkies podcast all over social media, Twitter, Instagram, even our website has some really fun stuff on it. So check us out there. And where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at awscott21.
Great. What about you, Kaycee?
You can find me at Hallmark My Words on Twitter.
Awesome. And come find me on Instagram at Hallmark Comics. That's Hallmark_comics. I'd love to interact with you there. And definitely, we will see you in 2 weeks to recap 2 more episodes of this fantastic season with the O'Brien family, Chesapeake Shores. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.